When was the last time you made something just because it sounded fun? Hello, my Wellish friends. Today I want to talk to you guys about a form of self care that is not talked about enough. When you think of self care, what do you think? You think bubble baths, you think journals, you think meditation, you think exercise or movement or getting outside in nature, maybe yoga, maybe a little Pilates, maybe a cute little set, maybe filling your water bottle to the brim, a green smoothie, perhaps. But what about creativity? I honestly think that creativity might be one of the most healing forms of self care because it gets you so connected with who you are and really makes you do the thing that makes you feel good and express yourself in a way that a lot of the time is pretty unexpected, especially when you're somebody that wouldn't consider yourself a crafty, creative person. I am not an artist. I have never been an artist. It's one of the things that I definitely stray away from. But for whatever reason, whenever I do something a little bit artsy, it is so much more healing for me than any of the things that are supposed to make me feel good. And I honestly think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that it shows you that you're not just a person that is consuming constantly. You're putting something out there into the world and you're not expecting yourself to be good at it. It's not something that you have to perform well at. It's not something that society told you were supposed to do in order to be successful. You weren't supposed to make that piece of pottery in order to be successful, like you were supposed to go to the gym and eat well and meditate and do your skincare. As a society, we've become more of consumers than we are creators. Think about what your average evening looks like. You're binge watching a show, you're scrolling social media, you're reading a magazine or a newsletter, you are listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video. Hi. And none of these are bad. Don't go anywhere, okay? We need these. But just like anything else, it requires balance. And our balance is way off on this. We're spending a lot more time consuming than we are expressing. Like, how often are you leaving your own touch in your everyday life? You're not. You're doing what you think you're supposed to in order to qualify for living a good life. Like, would you have done that thing just straight from your soul? Like, straight up with no reason for it? Would you have thought of that on your own? Or are you doing this because this is what you have done? This is what someone told you should do. This is what you were raised to think you should do. This is what social media told you should do. Where is your own touch on your own day? Do you have that? And don't get me wrong, we love other people's ideas. That's why we listen to them. Other people have really good ideas of how we should be living our life. And obviously, like, research has been done that statistically shows the things that make us more successful and make us live better lives. So we're going to use those things. But you could do at least one thing in your day that just comes from your soul. It can be anything. It could be baking. It can be decorating your house or decorating a corner of your house, painting a picture, maybe taking a picture of things in your neighborhood or things that you think are pretty or people in your life that you love. Maybe you express yourself through writing or through gardening. My friend is making a fairy garden right now. Maybe you break a speaker out and you spend time singing loud as fuck in your apartment. My neighbor does that. I listen to her all the time. And honestly, I love that for her. I think it's great. You could spend time dancing. You don't have to be good at dancing. When you dance by yourself, it is the most liberating thing in the entire world because it takes off the edge of like feeling stupid like you do out in the world when you go to dance. You can just dance by yourself in your house and it feels so good. Maybe you can make playlists so you can do those things. Maybe you really like flowers and you can arrange them in a way that makes your home pretty and makes you feel happy. Cooking. People love to express themselves through cooking. I am not a cook. I'm a recipe girly. But the people that are genuinely cooks that can throw things together and experiment with things and try new things, how creative and cool. Maybe you like to crochet or knit and you can make blankets for friends and family, or not. You can make a hat for yourself and never pick it up again, but that you tried it just because it's something different and new. A lot of people like to build Legos, and building Legos isn't what you think a little boy would be building rocket ship Legos. Like they make flowers and pretty gemstones and the Eiffel Tower. Like you could make something really cool. Maybe you spend time redesigning a room, or maybe you fake design a room digitally on an iPad or something like that. You could design your new house. My friend loves to play Sims, so she designs all of her houses and all of her rooms on her game. The point isn't being talented at something. The point isn't doing it for a purpose to optimize and do something in the world and maybe make money one day. The idea is to participate in your life, to do something to express yourself and put yourself out in the world and discover the things that you like and that you don't like and that make you feel good and that make you feel like you're contributing to the world somehow. Not even from like you're contributing to the world by solving world hunger. I just mean like literally putting a piece of something out into the physical, putting a pie out into the physical, writing a page down and putting that out into the physical. Nobody else has to see it. You don't have to share it with anybody else. Expressing yourself through dance, nobody else has to see that, but you're doing something physical. You're bringing your internal world to the external, because creativity reminds you that you're alive. Think about when you were a kid and you would express yourself and you would play all of these make-believe games and you'd be jumping off shit and digging your hands in finger paint and smashing them everywhere and doing all of the different things with Play-Doh or digging in the dirt. They come up with all these crazy stories and are like, look at this move, and like whip their body in some weird direction. They're making up jokes that suck, sure, but they're making up jokes. They're putting on dance performances in the living room. They're creating worlds with their action figures, their Barbies. No one had to convince them to do that. No one was convincing you to build a fort and play Safari. You just did it. But then adulthood slowly creeps in and replaces all of your creating with producing. Everything you create has to be useful and productive and optimized and profitable. And that sucks. At what point did everything that we create need to have a purpose? Of course, we need purpose. Of course, we need to do the things that are useful and productive and optimizing and profitable. That's how we survive in the world. That's how you move through life. I'm not saying that that shouldn't be a thing, of course. But we need the creativity in order to give our brain a break from all of the self-evaluation. When you're creating, you're not asking yourself those questions that we are when we're constantly producing, like if you're successful enough or attractive enough or good enough or doing this right or following the right path or making the right choices. You're asking places from a place of curiosity, like I wonder what would happen if I tried this, or what color should this be, or what song should I put on next. Creation builds that habit of redirecting your attention away from yourself. And a lot of that production that we are told to do, because that will make us better and create better lives for ourselves, creates a dynamic that we're so self-obsessed. Like we are constantly thinking about what's wrong with us and what we could be doing better and what we're doing wrong and what we should be doing and if you're on the right path. And we're so focused on ourselves that we're not experiencing the people and the world around us. But the creativity is what changes that. It brings us outward. It brings us to the external. It's one of the very few activities that we do that just naturally makes us feel fully engaged instead of fully evaluating. And when we're fully engaged and not spending all of our energy evaluating ourselves constantly, and when we're fully engaged and not spending all of our energy evaluating ourselves constantly, we actually get the opportunity to discover who we are. A lot of us spend our energy trying to figure out who we are. And the truth is, you don't usually think your way there. We try to. We try to think ourselves into understanding who we are. But the only way we ever actually discover who we are is through experience and seeing and observing how we show up in the world and making tweaks if that's something that we want to do, but just getting really familiar with who we are through the things that we experience in our life. You notice that you actually really love photography, or you actually really love hosting. You actually really love making itineraries and coming up with plans and doing all of the work, the heavy lifting for your friends to go on this trip. You realize that you really love writing. You really love creating content. You really love interior design. But you only realize it when you go out and do the things that make you feel good, when you follow that feeling and just try to do it before you know it will actually be something optimizable. Even now, talking to you about it, I have such a bad habit of thinking, like, oh, what could you do with that? My friend was talking to me about how well she trained her dog, and I couldn't help but think, oh, what if you train dogs for a living? Which, sure, could be a thing if you found something that was really nice, but maybe it's something that just adds joy into your life and again helps you gain clarity on who you are as a person. And that identity grows through experimentation, not this constant introspection and sifting through all the files in your brain trying to figure it out. Here's the thing: self care is not just soothing yourself. Self care has really become synonymous with relaxing, but it's possible that that's not the only definition for self care. Self care can also be making yourself feel inspired, making yourself feel curious and playful and expressive and alive. Might not always calm you, it might energize you to live your life and do these things that make you feel really cool and fun and excited. That's still self care. And the best part about self care is you don't have to be good at it. It's easier to see how you don't have to be good at bubble baths. You don't have to be good at skincare. Like, those aren't things, but you do think that you have to be good at writing in order to do it. You think that you have to be good at singing in order to do it, or good at dancing in order to do it, or good at cooking in order to do it, or good at knitting in order to do it. But you don't. The value isn't the outcome. The value is in being the person that's doing the thing, that's expressing yourself through putting your inner world out into reality, out into the external. I want you guys to humor me, okay? Yeah, I'm going to say this and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And then just like click on to the next thing and just never think about it ever again. But really, like, genuinely make a note and try to intentionally do this. I would love it if you actually challenged yourself to do something this week that didn't have a purpose, to create one thing that nobody else has to see you do. You can bake something, you can color, you can dance, write a terrible poem, make a playlist, look into what it would be like to build Legos. Go to Hobby Lobby, look through all of their things that you can do. Next time you're walking through your neighborhood, do one of those color scavenger hunts and just take pictures of everything you see that's red. You don't have to post it or monetize it or prove anything with it. Just do it and see if you like it, see how it makes you feel. It's possible that being able to energize yourself and inspire yourself in that way will create more energy for you to turn around and do things that will propel you forward, because you did this thing that allowed you to express yourself and allowed yourself to feel good. And when I say that, I feel like that really creates this vibe that a lot of us, I feel like, live by, that we're this machine that sometimes needs rest and somehow we're optimizing rest too. But the truth is you're just a person, and a person that needs self-expression in order to live a good, fulfilled, happy life. And I think sometimes consuming things that are comforting are helpful, but I also think creating something, even if it's imperfect, really does something for your soul That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure to rate and review the show. It really does help get episodes out to more like minded listeners like you and I who need to live a little bit more wellishly. I also would love it if you could comment what you plan to do this week that will be your just for fun, no purpose thing. So you can give other people some ideas about what they can do that's maybe a low maintenance thing to try. You really don't realize who you might help just by sharing a little bit of your experience. Your opinion really does matter. And for anybody just sifting through the comments, you'll give them an idea of what they can try to incorporate into their own life because what you're doing sounds cool and to them and sounds fun. If you're someone that loves self-improvement but hates the inevitable self-rejection that comes with consuming so much of it, please make sure to subscribe so that we can continue to grow and evolve while loving who we are right now, feeling good and proud of the person we are today instead of feeling like we need to become someone else. I hope you have an incredible, aligned week filled to the brim with creativity, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye, guys.